Well, Stargirl suddenly realized it's got to have a story, so after a couple of episodes of just rinse, lather, repeat, formulaic nonsense of everybody being taken down by Eclipso, in pretty much the same way. Yeah, well, not everybody got taken down. Beth beat the odds. Yeah. And still hasn't really attacked Stargirl until now, but now that's the same thing doesn't happen. So yeah, the story actually moves along. You get details of the plot. You learn a bit more about the Shade and stuff like that. And even though he's not quite the villain, he's still not a very trustworthy character. And a far cry from the Shade I knew from the comics. And I got some collections of old Flash stories, and I've been rereading those. And I guess I need to do videos on that too at some point. But I've been reading, old comics because that's all there is. And boy, no, he was always a sinister, nasty guy. But now, but it works, for the narrative of the story and stuff like that. So he was wounded by Eclipso, and so he manipulates them into restoring him. But of course, I'm sure he wants to figure out how to stop Eclipso himself, and will probably provide some amount of help in all of this. So, continuing on with one of the formulaic plot devices of "you lied to me." So Courtney's mad at Daddy again. And, it's Pat doing it, but for all intents and purposes, that's the only father she's had. So, and for what it is, it's this obvious, bratty kid, and now I get to lord it over Daddy, and that's about it. And it could just be because, I'm an old man. I've seen this scene a million times now. So maybe for a younger audience, which is what this show's for, it would be fine. So, but I have to believe that the repetition that's been dealt this season, that's always going to be a negative. So, they suddenly remember Jenny, who they met early on, who was destined to become Jade, and of course she's trying to find her long-lost brother Todd, and that's continuing. And Todd, who is destined to become Obsidian, which is interesting because he's got these shadow powers and is similar to like Shade and stuff like that. Well, more or less, I guess. I'm wondering if there's some connection that they'll pursue maybe next season or something like that. Could possibly be. But the thing about Obsidian is that, he's the original gay superhero. Yes, that's right. Well, I guess North Star beat him by, a bit. But yeah, you won't be seeing him get his own title at DC Comics for coming out day or anything like that because, celebrity sites or stuff like that, they don't know who that is. So they do recognize the Superman S, so that's why you do things like that. And Robin, yeah, so they recognize those characters, but not the real gay character. No. But anyway, so I guess eventually maybe I missed. It seems like I heard that they had cast him already. They probably did. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, so that's the deal. She's having trouble controlling the powers, and they catch up with her and all that. But the thing of it is the plot that Shade had was saying, hey, you gotta restore the diamond to recapture Eclipso and trap him back in it. And he was suggesting that Courtney, Stargirl's staff, could do it. And she tries, but it's still too weak from the damage it suffered in their last battle. So they'd figure, hey, the Green Lantern power could probably do it. So they go looking for Jenny, and they find her. And sure enough, she says, okay, I'll try. And and Pat gives Courtney a tour of the old Justice Society headquarters that he and Starman used. He just now got around to that. but anyway, So yes, Jenny is successful. She restores the diamond, but at the last minute, Beth is reading Dr. Midnight's notes on all this stuff about Shade, and she realizes, oh no, this is a trick, but it's too late. It's restored, and it helps heal the Shade, and that's what he wanted, of course. And so, but he seems a little embarrassed because Barbara believed in him and all that stuff, and she reminds him of his long lost sister. To avoid any romantic things, and so he feels bad about it. So he'll probably come through in some form or fashion later on, but right now he did do him dirty. And so Eclipso shows up, kicks their asses, and then kills Stargirl. No, in fact, he even says what he's doing. He sends her to the Shadow Realm, so that, and there she'll run into Cindy, of course, is stuck over there, and what's his name, Fiddler Jr., and then, of course, Dr. Midnight. And I'm guessing Dr. Midnight will probably end up sacrificing himself to save the kids, that kind of thing, and Beth will be all sad about it, but now I'm going to live up to the name Dr. Midnight. And maybe even in the ordeal, she'll actually get blinded by the event, I don't know. Not wishing it on her, but that was the original story of the character. And, of course, she was more her mother's age in the comic. But anyway, been over that already. So there you are. Actually, even though there was, the soap opera stuff in it and all that, but it moved along. It had more fluidity to it. The pace was good. Other nods that the Thunderbolt will be making another appearance, I see, because... damn it, why am I dropping on his name? Well, Courtney's brother has looked into this, and he finds giant pieces of candy in a house that looks like the gingerbread house or whatever. And so the Thunderbolt's up to something, and I guess the other kid is making him turn everything into candy or something. And there's that. There was also a little nod to a villain from the Infinity Incorporated series from the 80s. This was one of the original spin-offs of the Justice Society, which all of their younger kids, and they formed this team. And one of the villains they dealt with was a character called Mr. Bones, who's basically a skeleton dressed up in the Black Terror's costume, because Black Terror is public domain, so anybody can wear that suit. It's a cool suit, but it's public domain, And so I guess they'll be casting that in some form or fashion, perhaps CGI. But the whole setup and stuff, there was the name of the nurse, and I'm already blanking on it, and maybe I'm sure it had some significance to characters, probably another Easter egg or what have you. But this was at the orphanage where Todd had been, but he had already left and gotten into trouble with the law and stuff, and Jenny's trying to find him and all that sort of stuff. But she makes a secret call to the head nurse, and she's wearing this weird, Stalinist communist uniform with a black nurse hat. It's like, oh yeah, it's perfectly fine to leave kids there. So anyway, after Courtney and Jenny and Pat leave, she makes a quick call to inform Mr. Bones that Todd had a sister. Oh yes, well, so obviously a little story for later. So actually, pretty okay episode. And what's his face? Our Man Jr. sitting in jail after he beat the crap out of his uncle or brother, uncle. And some apples come flying through the window. I didn't know they had open windows in jails these days. It's like in Gunsmoke. But apples came flying in. So, it's Solomon Grundy. Knows where he is, I guess, because he can smell him. And, friend. So, I don't know, I guess Solomon can easily break him out of jail, so maybe that'll happen. Anywho, there you go. Stargirl Summer School Part 10. And yes, no, they didn't go to summer school not 1 second in the whole episode. I don't know how she's going to make up her grade, because she got held back for he had to go to summer school to make it up. But, well, she's busy fighting a purple demon, Anyway, So they really just didn't have enough material for the full season. They should have cut down the episode length. And it'd be over already, but your story would still be solid, you know? Oh, well. There you go. We'll see what happens next week.